Y'all know who took too long to make their games come out? Bendy. I never even played chapter 5. They was just taking so long, like I didn't even care about it, bro. I didn't even care about Bendy by the time it was finished. I don't want to see this game go that way.
This is what Corey Kenshin had to say about indie horror games, specifically Bendy, but this is not just limited to Bendy. It includes everyone, from the likes of Dark Deception, from the likes of even Poppy Playtime, which I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, and Bendy and the Ink Machine, of course. Let's talk about it. What is a SmackNPie or SmackNPie here? So indie horror games, it's a genre that is a little bit different from the indie YouTube horror scene. Those two are actually different. Unfortunately, they are now one and the same because of the views, because of the internet culture, sales and trend and marketing and hype and all that stuff. Creators are involved, left, right, and center. You got live streamers, you got YouTubers, it's all one giant circle. What Corey Kenshin here said, he's not the only one that feels that way. There are a lot of people, and I'm talking about even the members of the community feel that way. So I'm gonna start off with a question asking you guys, hey yo, do you feel the same as Corey when it comes to indie horror games taking long? And we're not just talking about the chapters, no. We're talking about one game to another, and we're tackling only the indie horror YouTube scene, because if we're gonna talk about AAA, that's a whole different thing on its own. FNAF kept its glory for as long as anyone can remember, right? Dark Deception is the best example. Bendy, do I even have to say anything? And now Poppy Playtime. The gaps between the chapters is not as long, tedious compared to the other games, but it's inevitable that when a game gets popular, when it gets into the trending section, alright, and it's so popular, it's bringing in millions, tens of millions of views, it only makes sense for developers to go all in, because there are expectations now. Fans want to see what is the next installment, how is it gonna be, and chapters games are no new. They've been around for decades now. Part 1, Chapter 1, Episode 1. It's no different, right? And then we're talking about indie horror. Indie devs. Couple of devs. Couple of people. A group of small friends working for millions of people's expectations, hype, excitement, anticipation. Sometimes they are under more stress than your average AAA title because they got the backing of the studio. They don't have to worry about a lot of things that the indie devs have to. There's a lot of pressure on these indie devs. So first of all, hats off to you. But then it brings us back to the topic of, okay, you have one side where developers are trying hard to match fans' expectation, but it's taking too long because they want to increase the scale. It's taken twice as long. Fans are getting impatient. Things are not working out. You gotta find out the balance between the quantity and the quality. When we talk about Bendy and the Commission, even when Chapter 5 dropped, I still feel like it was a little rushed, but I enjoyed for what it was. Bendy Chapter 5 tried to find a balance between the two, giving us a kinda sorta conclusion to the story that started with Chapter 1, trying to keep up with the fans and whatnot. It tried, but I have seen a massive drop-off after Chapter 3. And I'm talking about as a fan, not as a creator. As a creator, it's a different story, right? And then you have creators, YouTube creators, Twitch streamers. Like it or not, they got a lot of influence with your general YouTube audience. They got a lot of influence on whether a game's reputation is going positive or negative. We've seen that, how creators can influence the reviews and reactions of a certain game. And so indie devs, when they see their games get popular because of these creators, it is natural for them to be influenced by those creators as well. So if a creator or a handful number of creators say, you know what devs, this is what you should do in the game, whether it is for the better or for the worse, that opinion is more likely to take priority compared to actual reviews, whether it be on Steam, Game Jolt, people who are playing the game in numbers, right? People who are buying the game. Because let's face it, there's a good chunk of people that don't even know how to feel about a game unless until they watch a reviewer or their favorite YouTuber playing that game. They can hate a game, but if their favorite YouTuber is loving it, they'll say it's great. These are just some of the things that we already know. These are some of the things that are facts. I'm not making this up. I'm not pulling anything out of my butt for this one. So when we apply, it comes back to the same question. Where is the balanced line? If it's taking too long, what is the line where, okay, let's say Chapter 3 is taking too long for Poppy Playtime? What do? Should they increase the development by bringing in more employees to make sure they pump out the same quality stuff as they've been doing whilst reducing the wait time, but that's going to be costly on the developers. They might not have that kind of budget to cater to the timeline that they want to push out those things, right? That's number one. Or they rush out the products knowing that for the most part fans will love it regardless of whether it is something unique or not. Is it something generic? It's alright. And all of the major indie horror games fall into this criteria. You have Five Nights at Freddy's, you have Dark Deception, you have Bendy, you have Poppy. Poppy is the least impacted amongst the list, but let's talk a little bit about Dark Deception, right? Dark Deception has had a very interesting timeline when it comes to releasing its chapters. We've seen how popular it got when Chapter 1 and 2 dropped. Chapter 2 is actually where I've seen this game grow to insane levels. Then Chapter 3 came and people were on the fence. A lot of people loved it. There were a few handful of people who were like, okay, come on, now calm down. I see what you're doing. I appreciate you. But yo, let's fix some of these things, man. And then Chapter 3's post-release is where the hype reached its peak. And the Chapter 4 anticipation was like insane. It was so nasty. I am saying it right now that the excitement and anticipation like Chapter 4 will never be replicated for any Dark Deception chapter or game ever. I'm saying it right now. Videos will get views, people will buy the game, all YouTubers will play it, but it's gonna be mostly, oh great, a new Dark Deception game, I'm here for it, let's check it out, rather than, oh my god, I cannot wait. You know how many comments I got during Chapter 4 days where people would literally every single day comment to me that they're seeing Chapter 4 in their dreams. That's how much they're obsessed with the game. It got even worse that even I started to dream about what kind of videos I want to put related to Chapter 4. That's unhealthy level of obsession and excitement, but all is to say that it all comes down to the same question: where is the line? Both as indie developers and as us consumers. It's a very rapidly changing environment. A game that is trending today will be irrelevant next week. That's how fast things are, and developers are struggling to keep up. So where do we draw the line? For many of us horror fans, we'll tolerate, we'll wait for as long as we have to, because that's our passion, our love. But when it comes to your general audience, which, let's face it, where's a lot of the sales and eyeballs are gonna come in from, where do you draw the line? How much do you sacrifice to get to that? That is a question I'm gonna leave to you guys. Let me know your thoughts about this, and I'll see you in the next one.